Today, we're popping the hood on a real giant of the Indian financial world to see exactly what makes it tick. We are going to decode Aditya Birla Capital, using their own data to really understand their performance, their strategy, and, their overall health. So let's get right into it. First things first, who exactly are we talking about here? Well, Aditya Birla Capital, or ABCL for short, isn't just one single company. You have to think of it more like a massive, sprawling ecosystem of financial services that touches pretty much every corner of money management in India. So here's our game plan for this deep dive. First, we'll do a proper introduction to the company. Then, we're going to dig into the numbers with their financial scorecard. After that, we'll unpack their core 1ABC strategy, see how they handle risk, and finally, we'll boil it all down to one big takeaway. All right, let's get to know this company. What exactly falls under that huge Aditya Birla Capital umbrella? And when we say diversified, we really mean it. We're talking about a whole range of things, from standalone health insurance and stockbroking, all the way to managing a platform for stressed assets. This is not a company that just does one thing. It's more like a financial supermarket. This quote from their own report, this really gets to the heart of it all. One customer, one experience, and one team. Now, that's not just some catchy marketing slogan. It's the core philosophy that ties all of their diverse businesses together. It's basically their blueprint for building this financial powerhouse. Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how does it actually translate into performance? Let's take a look at the hard numbers. If there's one theme that just screams out from the data, it's powerful, consistent growth. Let's get into the specifics. First up, just the sheer scale of this operation. We're talking about a staggering 5.5 trillion rupees in total assets under management. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. It's an absolutely immense amount of capital they're responsible for. And it's not just about managing assets. They are a huge lender, too. Their lending portfolio hit 1.77 trillion rupees. But here's the really crucial number, a 29% jump in just 1 year. In a market as competitive as India, that isn't just expansion, that's aggressive market capture. Of course, growth is one thing, but is it profitable growth? Well, in the second quarter of fiscal year 26, they posted a profit after tax of 855 crore rupees. This shows that their aggressive strategy is translating directly into a very healthy bottom line. So, those are some seriously impressive results. The big question is, how are they pulling this off? Let's peel back the layers on their core strategy. The secret sauce seems to be what they call their omni-channel architecture. And look, this isn't just a fancy buzzword for having an app or a website. It's all about seamlessly weaving together their physical and digital worlds to create one single unified experience for the customer. So, how do they make that happen? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is how they empower their distributors. They give them everything from super smooth digital onboarding, both do-it-yourself and assisted, to a full suite of marketing tools, and even sophisticated lead management. It's all about making it as easy as possible for people to sell their products. And you can see the results of that whole omni-channel approach right here in their retail distribution mix. I mean, look how diversified it is. They aren't just relying on one channel. They're reaching customers through banks, their own proprietary channels, brokers, and, of course, a growing digital footprint. But look, rapid growth and these complex operations, they bring big challenges. So let's talk about the foundation that makes all of this possible, how they manage risk, and think about their broader impact. This is the critical question, isn't it? Any investor, any analyst should be asking this. When a company is growing this fast, across so many different areas, how do you keep the whole thing from spinning out of control? Well, they tackle it with a very deliberate and structured playbook. For every major risk, whether it's market swings, operational hiccups, or even outright fraud, they have a specific, dedicated strategy to deal with it. Things like board-approved policies, regular self-assessments, and a whole unit dedicated to fraud risk management. It just shows a deep, serious focus on stability. You know, a company's health isn't just about financial risk. So let's step beyond the balance sheet for a moment and look at how Aditya Birla Capital is showing up in the community and for the environment. And the numbers here are really tangible. We are not talking about some vague promises. They've provided HPV vaccinations to over 7,600 girls and women. They've supported livelihood projects for almost 20,000 people. And they funded more than 65 life-saving heart surgeries for children. On the environmental front, it's the same story. They're taking real concrete steps. Everything from sourcing green power and installing solar panels to simple but really effective things like switching to LED lights and going digital for board meetings to save paper. It's a clear, multi-pronged approach to shrink their footprint. Okay, so we've looked at the different businesses, we've crunched the numbers, we've unpacked the strategy, and we've checked the foundation. Let's tie it all together. What is the big takeaway from our deep dive today? It really boils down to this single sentence. Aditya Birla Capital is a diversified financial powerhouse, and it's using a digital-first, omni-channel strategy to drive growth that isn't just strong and profitable, but also responsible. And all of this leaves us with one final, forward-looking question. We know the company is working to simplify its corporate structure, and they are clearly doubling down on their digital transformation. So the question we're left with is this. Are we watching Aditya Birla Capital evolve into the definitive one-stop shop for all of India's diverse financial needs? Only time will tell. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.